Hello friends, I welcome you all to this online session of a BA Part 3 Special English, Understanding Poetry. In the last session we were discussing about Victorian society, and while discussing this Victorian period, we were discussing the social condition of the Victorian period and come to know that it is the period that is a period of peace and prosperity but with a certain social problems. In social problems, we discussed about the illegitimacy of a illegitimate children, the problem generation we also came across. So now let us continue with the same thing and try to understand the social condition of the Victorian period. So the responsibilities of upper class and aristocratic women were to oversee the servants and organize the dinner parties. So you can understand that this is the oversee the servants and organize the dinner parties. It is restricted to uh, the upper class aristocratic women where they have to do all these things. The women proved their homemaking skills and served just as a symbol of a social status. So, in aristocratic society, you can see women, a beautiful woman with a good household skill is a social status. So, the lower class women were distinguished from the upper class by having less education and fewer opportunities. They have to work into the domestic sphere. Most of lower class women worked as a domestic cook, maid, laundress, or to a wealthier women not able to properly taken care of their children. So this is what you can see, a pathetic situation of a women of a lower class. Upper class society, you can see in aristocratic society women is again restricted to oversee servants and arrange parties for male counterparts. In lower class, this kind of situation, their situation is very pathetic. They cannot give a good ample time to their children, but they have to work for the upper class women. Further, they were employed as a barmaid, waitress, chambermaid, and the washerwoman. So you can see these are the works they have to do in to survive in the life. Such a mothers had to pay some other very elderly or very young woman to watch their children during their working hours. Many times, elder sisters were uh, supposed to play a role of mother in the family, as mother have to go to work such kind of jobs. Besides their actual jobs, they had to do all of the household errands themselves because working women could not afford to pay for servants. Of course, yes, after doing work at employer's house, they again return to home and have to carry out household work. So this is what you can see is very pathetic kind of situation is a situation is in a Victorian period of a lower class women. Similar thing is happening today also. You can see the domestic servants. They have to work in two, three, four, five households, and at the same time, they have when they return to their home, they have to do again the same work at their home. So this is what you can. The situation is the same with the lower class women. The need for a police force was mandatory due to increased violence due to the rapid industrialization, and Robert Peel, this is a sponsored the Metropolitan Police Act in 1829. So you can see police. Before that, you can see there were the armies, but police when the metropolis cities were developed at its height, at its peak, you can see they need or they require to maintain a law. They require the police forces. And in 1829, this Act of Metropolitan Police Act was introduced by Robert Peel, and the police force came into existence. As a result of the uniformed police forces called the Metropolitan Police was formed at Scotland Yard. Today also you can see the Scotland Yard police have a very good reputation. similar to the Mumbai police. So they replaced military troops and militia as a peacekeeping force in the London metropolitan areas. So they make a peacekeeping force in the London metropolitan area. They try to restrict the criminals, or they becomes successful in capturing the criminals and jail them in a time. So in early years, the police had minimal authority, but their jurisdiction grew as the crime rates were high. So this is what you can see. Again, the similar thing is happening in India. The poor criminal class and the members of the underworld lived in the east end of London, robbed the respectable people who lived in the west end of London. Understand that when this industrial revolution came into existence and the people, especially from upper class and middle class people, start flourishing, developing, they start gaining money by employing this lower class, automatically the gulf between rich and poor becomes or it start widening. And as this start widening, you can see due to this kind of gulf, crime rate increased. And to cope up with this crime rate, they invented a new idea, that is idea of uniformed police force. And this uniformed police force start uh, thinking or start looking after the peace of the metropolitan cities. Similar thing is happening in every metropolitan city, that but this is the beginning. In the Victorian period, it started. Metropolitan police, it is beginning in London in a Victorian period. So you can imagine the gulf, or you can imagine the social problem in Victorian period, how the crime rate is increased due to the gulf between rich and poor. So see, in the fiction of Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens is also a very important Victorian novelist. Uh, Duane Tower, Duane Tower is by Thomas Hardy. Uh, Charles Dickens is also very famous for his one more book. It is Tale of Two Cities. It is about England and France. So this is also in the fiction Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Fagin and his boys spend their time robbing wealthy gentlemen. So you can see why we should understand, why we should learn socio-cultural milieu before understanding the literature. This is the situation. This is the example. You can see, if we want to understand why Fagin and his boys were spending their time in robbing wealthy gentlemen, because this is the Victorian period where the gulf between poor and rich is widened, and due to that the crime rate is increased. And this is the product, especially this Fagin, the protagonist of the novel, is the product of this society. So if we want to understand his point of view or his criminality, we should understand all these things. So the crime rates began to decline after the growth of a police power. Various punishments were imprisonment, flogging, capital punishment, isolation, forced silence, and Bible study. Such a kind of punishments were used. Abel Magwitch in Dickens' fiction Expectations, again Dickens' Great Expectations is also a very significant novel, was sent to Australia to serve the prison sentence. So you can understand this is what the connection between the sociocultural milieu and the literature. Garroting became a common style of crime for robbery, and poems were written from the perspective of the garroter. So you can see this is what is the situation. The design of a spiked collars became a famous and was worn for a protection by the scared upper class. So worn of a protection by the scared upper class. So this is what you can see is the situation of a social condition of a Victorian period. Though this age is called as a period of a peace, you can see there are certain social and cultural unrest. Upper and middle class society were very happy. They were gaining money. They were making a huge money with the help of capitalism. They were employing this lower class. They were exploiting the lower class. They were forming or they were creating new mines. They were laying new uh, railway lines, and for that purpose they require a huge human resource, and very easily they can gain the human resource from the from the rural area, or who these rural people were started gathering into the urban centers. They established the slums at the outskirts of the city, and they start going to work in the city, and eventually in the end came back and live on the platform, footpaths and platforms of the. Similar situation is in uh, India also. You can see in Mumbai also. You can see it has a very huge kind of a slum in Mumbai. So this is what is a social situation, social condition. In general, we can say this is the period of a peace, but with a certain social problems. Say then political conditions. Under the monarchy of Queen Victoria, the English government comprising of a parliament. This is what is the very significant development in the politics that is happening in this period, that is the Victorian period. Here you can see monarchy for the first time start losing its hold, or you can see instead of saying that for the first time, you can see, you can generally in general you can say the Victorian period witnesses the rise of a parliament, or it witnesses how parliament becomes more important than the monarchy. So this is what you can see. So there are also two kind of Whigs and Tories. If you want to understand it, you can also read about Whig and Tories of Victorian period. Two political class, they were fighting with each other. So this is comprising of a parliament. It witnesses the parliament was a bicameral legislature, and the consisted of the House of Lords, appointed and not elected by a public voting. So though this is just the beginning of the uh, parliament, this is just the beginning of the situation of a sorry, system of a senate and all these things. So in the initial stage when the House of Lords is established, they instead of the electing the representative, they were appointed, and the House of Commons again elected by the common people. So both two houses were created, the House of Lords and House of a Commons. So this is what you can see, the two houses. The House of Commons is represented by the people, the representatives elected by people. So this is what you can see, the two houses. These houses meet separately, passed bills which were made as a law by winning majority votes in both houses. So this is the political system established by Victorian period. I am not saying that this is the ideal democratic system, but you can say that this is the very positive beginning of a democracy. Instead of absolute autocratism, or instead of absolute power in the hands of a monarch, you can see the two houses, the House of Lords and the House of Common. You can see they were thinking about it, they were debating in the houses, and they were passing the bill. So this is just the beginning of a democracy in England. The two strong political parties in the Victorian period were the Whigs, as I told you, the Whigs, that is a liberals. Whigs means liberals, and the Tories, that is a conservatives. So these Whigs, they believe in liberalization, they believe in decentralization of power. However, Tories believe in centralization of power in a at the hands of a monarch. The Whigs supported the growth of parliament and wanted to control the royal power. Of course, yes. So there is again a clash between the power of a people and power of a monarch. So you can see there are also say several things you can see is contributed in this particular divide of the Whigs and the Tories. So monarch, and then even you can connect this with the origin of species. Why origin of species is so important? Because of this also, because the origin of species as he is defined, that man is not a representative of a god on earth. He is just a higher biological unit. Automatically monarch, who is next to god, also loses his power. So as a result of that, you can see there is a rise of a power of a common man. So the Whigs supported the growth of a parliament and wanted to control the royal power. They were of the opinion that parliament should take all the decisions and all men, irrespective of their social status or economy, should have a right to vote. This is the real democracy that these Whigs were introducing. Then the Tories, the favored monarch, and many rich officials belonging to high posts were member of this party. So this is what you can see. The Tories, especially who were favoring to the monarch, who were many rich officials belonging to the high posts, were members of the party. They supported the voting rights for only the rich men and who owned the large plots of lands. So this is what you can see is, so they supported the voting right for only the rich men and who owned the large plots of the lands. As I told you, this is just the beginning of a democracy. So there are certain things. The people who were in power, they don't want to leave their power. They don't want to decentralize the power, but they want it in their hands. So the Tories were favoring to the monarchs. They think that the power should be, the absolute power should be concentrated in the hands of the monarch. Then the colonialism occurs when one nation expands its territory beyond its own borders and establish either colonies or administrative dependencies through which they rule the people native to the land. So this is the period of also colonialism. In Elizabethan period itself, we can see that the people start taking voyages to England, sorry, India, West Indies, and all other nations. The boundaries of the world is expanding, and as a result of that, you can see they were establishing their own colonies or the administrative dependencies in different parts of the world. The colonizers further take control of the resources, finance, and the labor markets of the occupied countries. In this period also, in Victorian period also, you can see these colonizers, what they do, they did not only establish their colonies, but they start influencing, or they start utilizing, or they start controlling the resources. A very good example is India or Caribbean island. You can see what they were doing. They start even in a Caribbean island. You can see what they do. They start farming, and what the people, the native people, they start asking. They were employed as the workers. Afterwards, these colonizers become the landowners, and native peoples who were real landowners, they become the workers. So this is what the situation emerged in this particular period. So they start controlling resources, they start controlling finance, labor market of the occupied countries. During the Victorian period, the British Empire was described as a high empire because it conquered a huge amount of territory and colonized a massive population of the world's population. So this is the period you can see is the peak of a colonization. The peak of a colonization. This is in this period, British Empire was described as a high empire. Why it is called as a high empire? Because it has conquered huge amount of territory and colonized a massive proportion of the world's population. So the cultural imperialism is the process where one nation dominates another by enforcing their culture and language upon colonized people. India is the best example of this cultural imperialism. What they do, see, today also what we are doing, we were learning the literature, Victorian literature. Why we are learning Victorian literature? There is no absolute reason behind that. Why we were reading Victorian literature? Why we were thinking about Elizabethan period? Why we were not only thinking, concentrating on Indian literature? What we have done, we have created only one paper, that is the Indian English literature, and we were studying it at the MA classes. Or what we have done, we have prescribed a certain Indian text, but the majority of the text is of a English text. Again, that you can see what we were emphasizing in education. We were emphasizing in education that English is very important. Instead of all other indigenous languages, we consider English as a very important language. So this is a cultural imperialism. What happened due to this? You can see, due to this cultural imperialism, due to this language superiority, cultural superiority, we start imitating and we start endangering our culture. So this is what the India is the best example of this. We were wearing a tie and suit and boot and wearing the spect and behaving as if we were the people of England. So this is what the difference between this is happening with us because of the cultural imperialism implemented in a colonial period of Indian history. So a fear of a degeneration of the natives and the reversion of the state of sovereignty were instilled into the minds of colonized by their process. See, a fear of a degeneration of natives and reversion of a state of sovereignty were instilled into the minds of a colonized by this process. So this is what you can see. It also created unrest among the colonized people. So there is again a clash between the two societies, two categories, that is the colonizers, who were the British rurals, and colonized, who were the natives of the occupied nations. So afterwards, in after this Victorian period, you can see the colonial and post-colonial period. English literature is again divided into two parts, that is the colonial literature and post. Many I think till 1990 we were learning Commonwealth literature. There are several books in even in a library today also you can see it is a Commonwealth literature. What is a Commonwealth literature? Commonwealth, whose Commonwealth? Britain's Commonwealth. England, sorry, English, India, West Indies, or many other nations who has occupied by this British government. It is called as a Commonwealth, and we were writing, we were affiliating ourselves to the Commonwealth literature. So this is what you can see, the cultural imperialism. So we will stop here and continue the same in the next period. See, this is the political condition of a Victorian period, in which you can see two things. One, that there is a rise of a parliament. Two houses were established, the houses of lord and houses of common. And second situation you can see is a situation of a clash between colonizer and colonized. Colonies were established, and these colonies start utilizing the resources. They start controlling the finance. They start imposing their culture on the native culture, and there is a cultural imperialism. So this is and there is, due to this all these things, there is a clash between colonizer and colonized. So this is the political condition of a Victorian age. We will continue the same in the next session. We will stop here. Thank you for listening.